Yes, you guys, welcome back to another new daily video. This time, I'm going to focus on one exclusive story that was broken today. It surrounds the future of Tammy Abraham, and if you are a fan of Tammy, but it's time to feel upset and disappointed because this story came from Mr. Matt Law, and it suggests that the club are willing to sell Tammy for £40 million to help fund a move for a big name striker this summer. I'm going to be breaking down the story. I'm going to be giving my thoughts and opinions too, so I hope you guys do enjoy. Quick plugs though, I have released the match review and the player ratings video after our very impressive performance, but I guess I'd say disappointing result against Real Madrid, so you guys show some love and give that a watch. And one more thing, before I get into anything, I want to give a massive shout out to Super 6 for having me on the Hold the L series, and in this week's episode, we debated who had the most significant Champions League moments. I'm going to play you guys a very brief clip including myself, so stay tuned. Easily without a doubt, one of the greatest UCL moments was the 2-2 draw against Barcelona. Why? Because it's one of the greatest underdog stories of all time. In the first half, Terry gets sent off, we're down 2-0 as well, and if this is a weaker club, that's their dreams over, but we still found a way to push through, and the rest is history, you guys. So for me, easily one of the greatest UCL moments of all time.
For mine, obviously, I haven't got a great deal of to choose from, but Tottenham Hotspur beating Ajax in Amsterdam. We needed 3 goals in the second half. We had no Harry Kane for both legs, and yet we did it.
And yes, I know what you guys are going to be thinking. Nini, why did he not discuss the Champions League final against Bayern Munich? Now, I was actually at that game, but, you know, for the sake of the show, I felt like making it a bit more entertaining, going for, another incredibly important moment in our club's history. That game versus Barcelona really is significant to me. It's a game that I constantly still think about. It's a game that I, sometimes rewatch again, just due to, that feeling I got from the game. This was like impossible. We shouldn't have beaten Barcelona. This is like the greatest club side in history, it could be argued, and for me that is such an iconic game that I thought I'd have a lot of fun discussing it and talking about you guys. So right now there is going to be a link to the full video in the description and in the card above, so show us some love, you guys, give it a watch, and of course comment in the video section as well. Without wasting any more time, let's break down and discuss these Tammy Abraham reports. Now, this massive story came from Matt Law, and in the story straight away, the club have put up an asking price of around £40 million to let Tammy Abraham leave. Now, right now, it's looking like both Tammy and Giroud will be leaving at the end of the season because the club, as we all know, very publicly have plans to sign a big name centre forward this summer, and it's about creating that revamp with our attack right now. The plan is by letting Giroud and Tammy leave, that frees up around 200k per week in the club's wage bill, on top of the fact that you get a transfer fee of around 40 million for Tammy Abraham as well. On top of this, you guys, these aren't the only 2 players whose futures are in doubt right now. Tomori is destined to be sold. Milan will spend between 25 to 30 million to make his signing a permanent, and yes, even though Tomori's form has come down a little bit, it makes sense. He's barely played football, it's been a difficult season for everyone. Milan are still desperate to sign him. Kurt Zouma is also another player who could be destined to leave due to his popularity, with many clubs showing a strong interest to sign him, and he's the easiest one to sell compared to the other centre backs. So once you add up all the sales, that's around 100 million. 100 million can fund the move for a big name striker or significantly help us pay towards that. And when your 2 targets are between Haaland and Lukaku, well, I guess sometimes you may have to make those difficult sacrifices for the long-term future. Now, Matt Law reports that Tammy has always dreamed to become a big success here and would like to stay, but at this point in time, with his lack of game time, with Tuchel quite clearly not favouring him in the team anymore, Tammy Abraham is refusing to be loaned out anymore, so he's set to leave the club come the end of the season. To end with the article, Matt Law revealed that Nicolas Süle is the target that Tuchel wants us to sign. I'm going to say very quickly, I don't know, when you have Kurt Zouma who's already pretty commanding in the league, I don't see why we have to sell him to sign a player that's a similar profile, but it is what it is, you guys, and I think right now is the perfect time for me to give my thoughts and opinions behind the story. Now, to start off by giving my thoughts and opinions, I want to ask you guys what potential means to you, and whether you think Tammy Abraham has that potential to grow and become an even better and stronger player. Because for me, if the club are so adamant on selling him right now, that tells me that they don't believe in his potential. And is that right? Is that fair? As fans, it's not the first time the club have had short-sighted ideas on players' potential, only for that to cost us in the end. We can name them: De Bruyne, Salah, Lukaku, we can go on and on and on. But personally, I have to admit that I am quite disappointed by this news. I did feel like Tammy had the potential to grow. I see that. As I stress non-stop, we have to understand and appreciate too, that when Tammy started playing first in football for us, he wasn't playing his normal poacher role. When he was playing for clubs like Bristol City, playing for clubs like Aston Villa as well, he wasn't playing the same way. He didn't have any focus really to have to link up the play and become more of a focal point and a team player. That wasn't his job. All he had to do was find space inside the box, attack that, and, play that poacher role. So for me, I believe in Tammy's potential because he's shown over the past 2 seasons. Number 1, he is still our leading scorer in both seasons. Number 2, he's playing a different role completely. And when playing a different role, it's only fair that you are going to have growing pains. He's 23 years old. He's not 26, 27. And the fact that he can adapt to a new role, show improvements, as we've seen with his ability to defend set pieces, he's become key for us in that position. We've seen how he drops deeper to link up the play, how he creates space now for his teammates, stuff that he didn't have to do because Tammy was the one that moved into the space himself. We've seen how he improves his teammates around him. Is it any surprise why Timo Werner and Kai Havertz tended to score more goals having Tammy in the team? Because Tammy was the focal point, creating spaces in the box for these guys to run into. With Tammy Abraham, you are guaranteed between 15 to 20 goals minimum for your goal contributions per season. He's proven that twice now, playing in a role where he still needs time to adapt to fully master. I mean, if that doesn't scream potential, then I really don't know what does. I think with players like Tammy, we have to see the benefits they bring to the team. I really stress the benefits towards his teammates, but it's not only just on the field, you guys, it's also within the club and in training as well. Tammy is a massive fan of the club. He wants to be here long term. He wants to be the leading striker, remain at this club, but it's difficult due to Tuchel clearly not favouring him in the team. I think figures like Tammy in the team are important, especially for top 4 clubs like us, because it's about creating that atmosphere of competition. Let's say we do sign a big striker like we did last summer by signing Timo Werner. He had to be on his toes because you have someone like Tammy behind him who has the quality to also lead and is driven as well to achieve his goals. All I'm saying is, can we say no to a guaranteed source of goals? Because as fans, we've seen many a time ourselves over the season that lots of players don't get towards double digits for goals and assists. And if you want to compete, if you want to win major honours, you need to have goals in your team. And when Tammy costs you absolutely nothing because you're only paying for his wage packet per season, when he brings you a consistent supply of goals in a role where he is still developing and growing in, not even at his prime right now, why is that potential being dismissed? I can't help but feel about the comparisons alongside Lukaku. I remember very vividly back in the day how he was really derided and no one had any faith in him to be able to become the player that he actually is. His game was overlooked and dismissed. He was seen as just a physical presence who was quite limited on the ball, that didn't do much for his teammates, etc, etc. But look at him now, in the prime of his career, one of the best strikers in world football. We've had strikers at this club who maybe spent hundreds of millions, who haven't got close to the amount of contributions that Tammy has had in the team. And this is a guy that only got most of his experience playing in the Championship, playing in a new role. As I keep stressing you guys, I feel like I have to keep doing that. All I'm going to say is the club must feel extremely confident that they are guaranteed to sign a massive name up front next season. Because if you're going to allow Tammy Abraham to leave, especially making this news so public too, he's going to see it, everyone's going to see this, then you're basically seeing his future. So let's hope that this isn't a gamble that, goes against us in the end, because we saw last summer that Timo Werner was the man supposed to do that already. For this season, we've seen that he hasn't done that. And, I'm not a Timo Werner hater. I'm not going to talk down on Werner's game to boost Tammy. I'm not going to do that for any of the players in this team, to be honest, but I'm just going to exclusively talk about his form this season, the amount of minutes he's had to shine, how we've seen systems change towards him to get the best out of him. We've seen many attempts now to find that consistent form. The solutions get found, but ultimately it's Werner who doesn't take the final steps to put the ball in the back of the net, which is something that Tammy Abraham can do. We haven't seen Tammy missing the same amount of opportunities that Werner has. I remember in the Spurs game earlier this season, 0-0, when he was getting derided for missing some difficult headers. When do you ever see that same level of scrutiny applied on other players? You don't see it, and it's just like, wow, why is one standard different for our academy players compared to guys who spend millions and millions on? I think the club too, they buy into that culture. Every time a new signing comes, he's given preferential treatment. We want to see our investment shine, we want to see him work. And I can't help but feel that this is very ironic because, as I keep saying, we signed Werner in the summer to be the upgrade to Tammy Abraham, which he hasn't proven to be. And now it's like the club have realised that there was a mistake because we spent hundreds of millions on attacking players that were supposed to elevate us, get us more goals in the team. We're playing with no centre forwards, no number 9, but now we have to go back in the market again to spend money on one player that's the equivalent of 3 of these guys, because this team deep down needs a number 9. So again, if the team needs a number 9, why is Tammy not being seen as a solution, considering that many players have benefited from his selfless performances for the team up front? Like, for me, if you are going to sign a number 9, why not build some type of consistency so players know how to play with a more suited one up front? Our team have played with so many different variations of strikers throughout the season, especially under Tuchel, that for me it's no surprise why in games like yesterday, that understanding, that telepathic understanding of when to play balls at the right time and to time your runs at the right time is still not here. And we're near the end of the season. If I'm Tammy, I feel a bit hard done by. I think there's a lot more in his game. There's a lot more we are going to see come from him too. Let's just see if they come for him. That could be an amazing move for Tammy because he would be that success to Vardy in a system that would really complement him. But again, I don't know. It's a shame but still, you guys, it's a shame. I'm really hoping that we aren't going to start stepping towards the territory where we start to undermine the players who produce at this club. I'll give you a small example very quickly. Look at Jamal Musiala. Look what he's doing at Bayern Munich now. This was supposed to be a player that wasn't as good as Andrew and, your Rubens, your Masons, etc., etc. He knew straight then and there it was time to leave. He signed for Bayern, and look at him now, seen as one of the best young teenage players in the world, dribbling style out of this world, 2 feet, sensational. And this is a guy that we could have really benefited from, that we had for free at this club. I'm just hoping we're not gonna, all I'm praying for is that we don't make those same naive mistakes again, where the market is the solution to all of our issues when we already have the talent here a lot of times, as has been proven, to get the job done. So on that note, you guys, please comment below. Do you think it's time to sell Tammy? Do you want him gone? State your reasons why. If you feel like it's a mistake to sell Tammy Abraham, also state your reasons why as well. But on that note, I'm the EFC, this is Blue Lines TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.